constantly.
Cool.
Folks, we are live. Welcome to a very special Talking Crit. I am Mike Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR. With me is none other than my once-a-week work spouse, Bad Mike Battleout from North Texas. With us is Keith Migra, actor and I don't know, somebody who has been certainly wronged by a certain Ken Whitman. And I am saying Ken's name both ways because going back years, people would get upset when they're like, oh, you're referring to Ken as Whit? That's just an attempt for him to get out from under his own shit. Well, you know what? We're going to make sure that everybody knows Ken Whitman, Whitman, whatever else Ken decides to call himself, we will know who we are referring to. Now, we may also get a fourth chair in. If we do, it'll be our semi-regular Jim Kitchen. Jim also has information on our good friend Ken, and I do say good friend because, hey, he was one of the first.
It feels like we've known him for such a long time. It feels like we've known him for so long. You've been doing videos of this guy for at least a decade.
I was doing blog posts on Ken Whitman and his Kickstarter scammeroonery, his pyramid scheme, I guess you could call it, was Kickstarters. And Ken, little history before I get to the chat and start putting your comments in. Ken threatened me with legal action.
Oh no, that's never happened before.
No, because it actually has. But Ken was one of the first who threatened to sue me. Might be Gail Gygax was the first. Ken was the first to threaten to sue me. He's gonna have the FBI at my doorstep for a crime I don't know, but in any case,
sounds like him.
Hit me with the DCMA digital rights takedown.
Oh my God! Yeah,
threatened it. Ken's done some amazing stuff. Can we say that?
Can we say that Ken is smarter than Justin? Because Ken at least has never actually followed through in any of his lame attempts to say he's going to sue you, whereas Justin actually tried to follow through. And of course, he failed miserably, but he did actually just try, which is stupid.
Yeah. Well, Ken has no money. The only money that Ken has is generally the money he gets from others,
right?
From one means or another.
Right.
When Ken, by the way, this is just gonna. We're not doing a timeline, folks. If you don't know the history of Ken Whitman, Whitman, it includes a lawsuit in New York State where he was sued by Louis Desi. I give Desi a lot of credit. He took Ken to court, and he took Ken to small claims court, and he won. But it wasn't a great win because Ken literally said, well, yeah, all the video to the Knights at the Dinner Table live action series that I promised, I was broke and I was storing them in the barn of a friend. And I kid you not, folks, a barn of a friend. And if you're thinking Mrs. O'Leary in Chicago, you're not far off because the barn burned down and the hard drives in question, because he didn't have any backups.
That makes sense.
Hard drives all went kaput. So,
and by the way, this is after he had lied to Jolly and said, "Well, I'll give you the originals." Remember, he tried to extort money from Jolly. Let's do this. Let's talk to. Well, we'll talk to Keith and see what happened to him. Then we'll do a timeline. Or do you want to do the timeline first, and then talk to Keith? Because I think it'd be instructive to do a timeline of Ken based on. Some people who are listening may not have been up on this as long as we've been covering it. And then we'll talk to.
We'll give it a basic timeline.
Okay.
We're gonna do the elevator pitch of a timeline. I believe Ken was legitimately involved in Gen Con at right before the turn of the century. Correct, Mike?
In the mid-90s, I think 96, 97, 97, 98. He was. I've seen pictures of him and Lorraine Williams. So he was con director or con. He did something with the con. Now it's probably whatever he said he was is probably less than what he said he was because he's always overinflating his value. But he was involved in some way, shape, or form. Jim probably knows more about that if we get Jim on later. But yes, he was involved with the con. Through the con, he did meet a lot of game companies, game sellers. He's a real charismatic guy. He's a very out. Oh, we lost Keith. It looks like. He's a very charismatic guy. And he gets people. He buddies up to him. He's a big guy. He's a big dude, right? He's a big dude. But he's like a gentle giant kind of guy. He's really really nice. Talks to people, whatever. So he became friends with a lot of people in the game industry, and so he had a lot of ideas about different kinds of games he would run. Two of them are Rapid POD and the Highlander card game. And go ahead and tell me the story you told me about the Highlander card game.
Okay, so he had the license to publish for the Highlander card game. And it was a collectible card game, kind of like Magic the Gathering. Magic the Gathering was hot as it still is hot, but in the early aughts, it was like everybody wanted their own Magic the Gathering game.
Right.
And he had the license for welcome back.
Sorry about that.
Don't worry about it. He had the license for the Highlander collectible card game. Mm-hmm. So he was publishing the cards. But apparently, word on the street is that Ken was producing rares and ultra rares or whatever, the more expensive cards, on the side so he could sell them on the aftermarket to make sure that he was making a little extra for himself.
So he would produce like whatever the decks were, but he'd also produce maybe, I don't know the numbers, 15, 25, 30 more of the rare ones. Right. Maybe even more than that, I don't know, 100, right. I don't know. And then sell those because those are the rare ones.
So those weren't as rare as supposedly they were.
Right.
I guess you could put it as.
Yes.
So then around the same time, he had Rapid POD. Rapid POD was a print-on-demand publishing house. And there were a couple of problems with his Rapid POD. One was the low quality of the actual product that he would ship, with the caveat, when he would ship. So if he actually shipped to you, you got something that would likely not last very long if you took it off your shelf and tried to read it, let alone use it at the gaming table. But that's assuming that he actually shipped to you. So, Mike, you got the rest of the story.
The story was that one of the Gen Cons, early odds, either I want to say 2000, 2001, 2002, he apparently was going to fill orders for several clients for Rapid POD, but he said he would have the product at Gen Con that year because he didn't want to ship it. Which so it's kind of sketchy, right? Because you're like, oh, why does he just skip it? Oh, no, just wait 2 months and I'll give it to you at Gen Con. And then the story is, and I've heard from other people, is that he basically showed up with no product, or he either didn't show up that year to Gen Con or show up with no product. So those people just basically lost their money. He never filled their orders. He just kept putting them off, and then they went. At that point, you have to go somewhere to get your stuff printed. You're not going to wait for Whitman to or Ken Whitman to ship you your stuff. At that point, you're just like, screw it, I lost $500. I'm just going to go ahead and get my stuff printed someplace else. This is the first time I ever heard it was through this. Two people talk about, like, yeah, don't do business with the guy because Rapid POD was such a mess, and it was such a terrible mess. But even after that, Eric, a lot of people took up for him because, like I said, he's a very charismatic guy, had a lot of friends in the industry. And so even after that happened, people said, well, he just had a rough spot. He screwed up. He admitted he screwed up. And as I was telling Keith earlier, he's found Jesus about 8 times in the past 25 years. And so whenever he's having an issue, he finds Jesus again. So he was, he found Jesus. He's okay, and when I say find Jesus, I mean literally. He says he found, he goes all religious and says, hey, I'm going to make up for this. I found the Lord, blah blah. So anyway, so that was back then. So he kind of, what he does as a community is he disappears for a while and comes back because our tribal memory is short. For almost any kind of hobby or business, your memory's short. About 5 or 6 years, it turns over. You get new people in there; they haven't heard of you. So why don't you take the story from here, Eric? Because this is when it gets interesting. When he starts dabbling in the world of Kickstarters. This is when it gets interesting.
Oh yeah. So Ken dabbled in the world of Kickstarters. Now, for those that we know, I cover Kickstarters a lot, and I was covering Kickstarters very carefully on the blog side when Ken got into it. It was the Wild West because there wasn't much of a history to Kickstarter, and Kickstarter did not require you to finish a project and deliver before kicking off your next one. So Ken has great ideas, and some of them, like pencil dice, are things that pencil dice are great. Hey, if you're a gamer and you're spending your time in jail or prison, you can't own dice. But if you have a pencil, and maybe Ken was thinking ahead for his own future, it might be something that could. So Ken had at least 2 pencil dice Kickstarters. But he also started intermingling his love of the RPGs with video, with movie production.
The first thing he did was he did the Barbarian Brothers, which was a minor cult hit. And so I think he got really excited about that because I believe he directed, wrote, and filmed all the Barbarian Brothers little movies himself. So he got really excited about that because that actually came out and actually, did stuff. So I think he got a little too ambitious at that point. So he started going to properties. Traveler was one of them. Mark Miller with Traveler. Jolly Blackburn with Knights at the Dinner Table. And who was he went Castles of Crusades. He went to the Castles of Crusades guy and Chenault them and wanted to do a Castles of Crusades movie too. So he got the rights for all these people to do the Kickstarters for a movie, to actually do a movie. He had actors lined up. He made trailers. He made trailers for these.
Well, let's.
We made a Traveler. He made a Traveler trailer. That's right.
He made there are trailers. There's a trailer for Traveler. There's a trailer for the Castles of Crusades.
Mm-hmm.
And there was an episode 1 that was actually there were more episodes completed of the Knights at Dinner Table live action series, but only the first one was actually professionally done. When they recovered some of the later stuff, it was like, I don't know, like in 480p or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It was as if you recorded it off of a VHS tape 30 years later. It was really not high quality, but he had then he also had the Pop-O-Matic dice, which Kickstarter canned that one.
Yeah,
because somewhere along the line he found a shit ton of Pop-O-Matic dice, I guess available from China, and he was going to resell them as a new thing on Kickstarter.
Right.
Kickstarter canned that. Then he reinvented himself as a new account on Kickstarter with 2 other Kickstarters. And then he was, this is where I come in, by the way, and this is before I knew Ken was the person he was. Ken was also working with Larry Elmore, the artist, for the, what was that strip again? That Snarf Quest. It was going to do the Snarf Quest reprint Kickstarter. And I actually, folks, you can find it on my blog. I have a blog post talking highly of Ken Whitman and the idea of, hey, if you are a person who knows how to run Kickstarters, yes, you should be able to run Kickstarters for others. And what a great idea that is. And wow, that post doesn't age very well, but I left it up. Because, listen, yes, even I, Eric Tenkar, former supervisor in the New York City Police Department Internal Affairs Bureau, even I can fall for Ken's charisma, shall I call it? His magical abilities of presenting well.
Oh, yes.
But then that stuff started falling apart because Ken did not deliver. Ken flaked out. Knights at the Dinner Table. Oh,
but by the way, we're not talking pocket change here. Knights. I just looked up. I'd forgotten. Knights at the Dinner Table made $70,000 to Kickstarter, and I believe that Traveler was a little underneath that, and then the Castles of Crusades was a little underneath that. It's easily over $100,000. We're talking over $100,000. He made over $100,000 in Kickstarters. pitching these that he was going to make these movies.
Well, I forgot that when this stuff was not being fulfilled, Ken was posting about going on a cruise with his then girlfriend, whose family owned a hotel, and bragging about the car he was driving. But when he was confronted on the car, claimed it was a test drive, but they gave him 2 weeks to test drive it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it became very obvious very quickly he was spending the money he was getting at Kickstarters and not actually filming anything or doing whatever. I mean, he got actors. I thought the actors for Knight's Dinner Table were actually very. They look like their characters.
And they were talented. They had Ken.
Well, as we'll hear from Keith, I mean, the actors were real actors that just got conned. I mean, because they were, they were actors that were looking forward to these projects, both The Traveler and the Knight's Dinner Table, and they got kind of screwed too because they were promised, more jobs because of this. This is going to lead to bigger and better things. The Traveler only ended up being by the way, Ken's daughter gets roped into these things. His daughter was one of the actors in the Traveler movie. She was a robot. I don't know if you remember that, Eric. She was going to be an android. I'm sorry, an android. So his poor daughter gets roped into his projects by giving. She plays parts. She's a minor actress also, and she got roped in. So yeah, he had all these Kickstarters. He kept putting it off, and he did the one cardinal sin that we always take people to task for. And look, Mike Nistel's back on the scene. By the way, if you haven't seen him, he's changed his name again. He's changed his name also. He's not Mike Nistel anymore. He's but Mike Nistel is the one guy that came clean and said, "I'm a fuck up and I'm an idiot. I spent all the money. I shouldn't ever be giving money for Kickstarter again." Which Eric and I respect him for. Hey, look, if you say you're a loser and you don't know what you're doing, that's one thing. The problem with Ken is, and the same thing with Gareth Skark and a lot of these guys is, they just started making excuses. And it's never their fault, and it's always outside problems, and they just keep going on with the lies, That was one of Ken's problems.
Right. So now, Chris Nigel just said Ken's total on Kickstarter was $177,000.
Wow, I didn't know it was that much. I knew that's crazy.
So now, one thing I'm forgetting about, he claimed at this time, when people were coming down on him, he wanted the sympathy that he was diagnosed with CTS. Now, CTS is a concussive disease, which he says he got from playing, I don't know, high school football.
He says,
but here's the thing. Oh, he also says he has ADHD.
Oh dear. Yeah.
But the CTS, folks, just so you know, do you know how it's diagnosed? It is.
Did they take your brain out after you die?
It's diagnosed upon death.
Yeah.
All right. You can't diagnose it while you're alive unless they found some special doctor who has an ability that no other doctor has.
You never know.
You never know. Ken can find people.
Hey.
But that was his excuse for that. So, oh God. So that's that history. Then Ken morphed over once that got blown up. And by the way, folks, I'm going to mention this, but not because I'm trying to kink shame Ken, but Ken took all the equipment that he purchased with these Kickstarters. He was using that same equipment to make money on the more lurid side of filming and was posting about it. And when I pointed out that he was using the same stuff that he got the Kickstarter monies for his side business, a few of his friends came out of the woodwork to accuse me of kink shaming. I don't care what Ken does in the
it wasn't the fact he was making money, because he was advertising in certain magazines that I'll film you and whoever you want having sex, and I'll film it because I'm good. Yeah. Look, you do whatever you want on your own time. Whatever. We're not kink shaming you. It's just the funny part was the equipment he's using, he was using with stolen funds. Right. He had funded these Kickstarters. So that was our problem with him, not the fact that he was, doing lurid photography. That's, you want to do that, that's fine. But the fact he was just using material that paid for it through the Kickstarter.
Right.
But it goes, and there's a lot of different angles here, because at one time he told Jolly that if you leave me alone and quit banging on me online, I'll give you everything I've filmed of Nights at the Dinner Table. And it turned out later, during a lawsuit, we found out that nothing existed. And it all burned down in a barn fire. So he lied. That was a lie. He'd never had the rest of that film to actually give to Jolly. So that
Right.
he does stuff like that all the time. For a long time, when he wasn't fulfilling his Kickstarters, he kept dangling over your head that if something happens to me, this stuff's never going to see the light of day. This Traveler movie will never get made. Well, newsflash, there was never a Traveler movie. There was a trailer. He made a trailer, and that was it. Yeah. So this stuff never existed, yet he would hold people hostage, say, look, you've already spent $100, whatever. If you don't, if you don't leave me alone, I'm just not gonna come out with this stuff. So he would get defenders. People were like, look, leave Ken alone. I want to see this Traveler movie. I want to see Nights at the Dinner Table. Just leave him alone. This will all come out. This will happen.
Now we're forgetting one thing with the Traveler one. The Traveler also offered like those large miniatures of that like mega ship that Ken was selling on the side before fulfilling to Kickstarter backers. I literally almost forgot about that. And by the way, I have a secret informant giving me information on my side screen. And apparently, when Ken was doing the adult business, his daughter's friends at school were teasing him over it, and he had green screened his place for video.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
he did what?
He green screened his own place, like his own bedroom,
for a soundstage.
Yes.
Yeah, I can absolutely 100% verify that is true. I was there. 100% can verify that is true.
So, to flash forward a little bit, Ken got involved in the acting community out in Atlanta, Georgia, which is a huge community.
Oh yeah.
A lot of us up in the north don't realize that, but Atlanta is very big.
Very big. They offer a lot of film incentives, right, Keith? The state of Georgia offers a lot of incentives.
Many tax incentives. It's almost,
which is why Walking Dead was filmed there. A lot of Walking Dead was filmed in Georgia, and I know I have a lot of friends who were in Walking Dead as extras, and they all moved to Georgia. That was the where to go to be in the Walking Dead.
So Ken had to pivot at this point. Ken's pivot is away from the RPGs. He was selling stuff via his online comic book store, working for Marcus King. Marcus always said that he owed Ken his life. So there was never any wrong that Ken could do.
Yeah, Ken could not do any wrong in Marcus's eyes, which is really sad because he really didn't need a defender at this point. He had burned his bridges completely in the RPG community, and really Marcus, the late Marcus, I'll say, he'd passed away a few years ago. He really didn't need to be defending Ken because Ken had made his bed at that point. But yes, he turned some. Now if you watch, there's an old episode of MacGyver where he's in as a bodyguard. And he gets tased and beat up. No. By the way, no speaking lines. He doesn't do any speaking lines.
Or something like that when he gets tased.
He was Axeman in a Walking Dead episode where he walks behind a scene. He's got an axe in his hand. He's an extra. Okay, let's just say I have friends in the 80s that did more in Dallas episodes filmed in Dallas than Ken did in these episodes. I mean, we're talking they actually would sit next to Larry Hagman while he's at a restaurant. I mean, so they actually have skins on the wall. Ken kind of did these, he was an extra. I mean, he's working his way in the industry. He's a big guy, so he plays big bad guys. The problem was he overinflated these parts, and I heard the story, and I don't know. This is just a story, and so, but and take this how you will. I'm not gonna vouch for it completely, but apparently he was walked off the set of Walking Dead because he wouldn't stop talking to the actors. So he was, because they were fine with him playing the part. He has a big, he walked around with an axe, looked scary. I think this is the last episode of episode 3, episode 4. It's where the episode before the poor guy gets his head bashed in with a baseball bat. So for those of you that know Walking Dead, he was in that episode with all the bad guys in it. And apparently he would not stop talking to the stars. He kept walking up, talking to, which Keith will tell you is a no-no. You don't do that. When you're on the set with Al Pacino, you don't walk up and say, "Hey, Al, what's up?" and start jacking with him. No, you know. And so he started, yeah. And so he was trying to talk to us. So he was either walked off the set or asked not to show up for the rap party and kind of just, we're not going to. And he never worked with him again. Wow. So he basically burned a lot of bridges, in that aspect.
He wasn't done with The Walking Dead, though, at that point. He had, supposedly, one of, I forget which actress it was, which part it was, but it was a female part. He supposedly had...
Michonne, I think. It was Michonne's sword or something, right?
No, boots. It was the boot. Yeah. It was a boot or the boots of. And he had a certificate of authenticity. Now, the certificate of authenticity in question was from a company, I think, I forget which one it was. It was actually a company I knew from having some collectible coins.
Yeah, I was looking it up. I can't remember it either. I remember when that happened. I don't remember the company name.
And the logo was wrong, and there was no...
It was fake. Yeah, it was fake.
It was definitely fake. But he was trying to... and he was offended that people called him it was fake. But and what do? Walk off with a shoe from the set? I mean, it's.
Eric, if I'm not mistaken, that wasn't the only supposed artifact he had from Walking Dead, right? Didn't he have 4 or 5 items? I thought he had some extra items.
He claimed he had other items, but after that, once he was called on that one, I think that well dried up pretty quickly.
So just to move the story along a little bit, because I want to talk to Keith here. It's already been 30 minutes. This is the life of Kid over here. He went to the film industry and started ripping off people in the film industry. Let's put it bluntly. He would have people pay for demo films, and either he wouldn't film it, or he'd film it and never give them the product, or he wouldn't show up, and they would be into it for, like, it wasn't a lot of money. It was like Ken was very smart because he gets these people for about $500-$600. A lot of people aren't going to chase that kind of money down, But there was a couple of people that did post on actors forums, and this is how we found stuff out. They posted on Facebook and said, "Hey, by the way, don't do business with this guy because I paid him for a demo reel and I never got it." And so he just was kind of one step ahead, not of the law, but of other actors, because the word gets out in the actor community, right, Keith? I mean, it gets out, and so he just kept being one step ahead. He would move to a different city or a different area, and then do this and put an ad in a whatever the arts magazine was there, and he would just run around and do this, where he would take money and never give people a product, which is so stupid, Eric, because just film the damn demo reel and give it to the person. Well, I mean, why would you take $500, $600, $1,000 and then just not give it? Just film it. Just spend an hour of your time filming the damn demo reel. So it just doesn't make any sense. This is just who he is. He's just this kind of guy.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Oh yeah. So then in the midst of all this, Ken Whitman renamed himself Whitman. Now, why would Ken rename himself Whitman? And people were getting upset when I referred to Ken as Ken parentheses Whitman. They're like, "Oh, don't give it any. You got to make sure you call him Ken." No, I got to call him by both his names because Ken was reinventing himself. And if you looked up Whitman, you don't find out everything that comes up under Ken Whitman.
Which I, by the way, I told Eric, I tried this week. I Googled Whitman, and none of the Ken Whitman stuff comes up. It's all Whitman's a clean slate, which by the way, hopefully will dirty up tonight. But he was a clean slate. I looked up everything I could on Whitman. I could not find any of this stuff about Ken Whitman. Just not, the names don't link up. So
they don't. Nope.
Yep. So that sucks, and we're gonna get the word out. So now there will be a link between Ken Whitman and Whitman.
Good.
So Keith, you reached out to me.
Yeah.
And I hear this, first off, I hear the voicemail from somebody. I was like, all right, well, who's this? And then it's about Ken Whitman. So, and my wife listened to it too, and she's like, "Do you think that's Ken yanking your chain?" I go, "Oh no. I know Ken's voice, and I know the arrogance in his voice. If he were to actually call us, I go, that's not Ken. This sounds legit. She's like, wow. She's like, fun times. Because my wife, when Ken threatened to have the FBI waiting for me at my doorstep, and they're going to be waiting for you with papers, my response to that was, when your imaginary FBI talks to the non-imaginary law enforcement officer from the NYPD, I'll have imaginary tea and donuts, because that's what law enforcement needs, right? Donuts, and we'll just have a really good time.
Hell yeah.
Oh my God. So Keith, how did you get involved with Ken Whitman, the movie director, the producer, the editor, the actor?
Well, first, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. I did reach out to you. I called the number on there, and my voicemail was super simple. It was just, "Hey, I'm Keith Migra. I got some information on Whit you might wanna talk to me about." And then once you reached back out to me, I was like, "Okay, this is we're gonna go on." So what happened was, I was an upcoming actor. I was working with Peyton Hillis, who is a former Browns running back, good friend of mine.
Oh yeah, Peyton. He was on my fantasy team one year. He was awesome.
Yeah,
he was good. Yeah.
But no, he's a good friend of mine, and we started working together. He's the one that got me into movies. He's the one that used his influence to break me into that industry. And Whit actually reached out to me once he realized that I was friends with Hillis, and I just got done doing a movie called The Hunting with Hillis. Went to theaters and basically blew up, kind of blew me up overnight here in Cleveland, which is where I'm from. And so he reached out to me and my business partner, and he was like, "Hey, we're doing this thing called Unmortal with Al Snow and Darren Lee Cupp and John Wells and all this other stuff." And I'm like, "Oh, I know John Wells. I know Darren Lee Cupp. I've heard of Al Snow before. Yeah, hell yeah. Let's see what we can do." So I ended up doing a podcast, because my company we produce podcasts for people like Peyton Hillis, Matt Tiff, the NASCAR drivers. We're not a company that does that charges $400 for a show. We do it all, from production, editing, coloring, to distribution, to everything. So he saw my company as a way to market him at the time, and he's like, "Do you want to be in the movie?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, absolutely. I'm an actor. Why would I turn down a part?"
Right.
I know now. I was young and dumb. I know now. I don't just Google people anymore. I do background checks on directors. If you're on IMDb and you only have 3 things that you've created, sorry, I need more proof that you're legit now. And thankfully, Whit did that to me. Whit has actually strengthened my my due diligence when it comes to finding jobs and working with actors and working with directors. So I ended up, that was the first time we talked, and I ended up doing a series of podcasts for him, where I interviewed Al Snow, and I interviewed John Wells, and I think Darren, I interviewed a couple times. Mind you, all of those people outside of Whit, great people. I wouldn't talk bad. I'm not going to talk bad about any of them this episode. So, no, just kidding. So we have now my company producing all of his podcasts that are going on from Unmortal. Right? Not Unnatural, Unmortal.
No, it was Unmortal. I actually remember the announcement from Ken.
Oh God, I was on that interview. I was like, I look like such a jackass looking back at all this stuff. I'm like, oh my God, like why?
It's not just Keith. It's not just you, man. It's a lot of people. So don't feel bad. It's a lot of people.
And the thing is, you're not wrong. So I'll fast forward to what happened real quick, and I'm going to kind of do a jump, timeline it kind of. So fast forward to now. This man hired my company, which I produce movies and I direct movies. He hired my company to shoot Unnatural for him. Perfect. Here's my one rule. I need to be paid, and my people need to be paid, right? I mean, this is, people think in the film industry that, oh, it's so easy. It's so easy. They're working 12, 13-hour days for an idiot. I mean, they were working for a moron. And he has no idea how to direct. He has no idea how to talk to people. He doesn't know how to respect anybody. And so we go and we do this. I do this whole thing for him, right? He is the Oprah Winfrey of giving out points to his movies. You get a point. You get a point. You get a point. Just give me $10,000. You get a point. You get a point. Well, guess what? I'm not the best at math. I'm an actor. But I do know that if you give out 4,000 points and you only have 100 points to give, something's not right there. You know what I mean? And Thomas Mooneyham, who just posted in there, Ken Whitman is using stolen funds now to film Unnatural 2. That is 100% correct. He is 100% using funds that he has not paid back to the investors, to anybody, right? And Thomas is owed a ton of money. We're not talking $400, $500. We're talking thousands. He owns another guy $1,000. So now we're starting to get into criminal problems, right? Now we're getting into a more civil. This isn't a civil case. This is now going to be a criminal case. So then he tells me he's doing these retreats, right? We're going to get these retreats and we're going to bring these people and they're going to learn SAG, how SAG does it. Guess what? I finally got fed up of hearing him talk about how he's going to be on a SAG set. One of the students that he was supposed to be in class with or was supposed to be teaching these SAG things, SAG goes, we don't do that. We don't teach anybody. We're a union. We have things that you can go and read and look at, but he's like, we don't send out and Whit's not even SAG. So how is he able to teach anybody anything about something he's not part of? He's not SAG. He never was SAG. So we called SAG. We're like, hey, this guy is saying that he's teaching a SAG set. He's on a SAG set. It blows my mind because then there's still students out there that are continuing to give him money. And for the same thing, they haven't gotten what they were promised for Unnatural 1. And now he's doing another retreat. And some of the same people are defending him and going back. And I said, you know what? This is the most petty thing I've ever done in my life, guys. And I'll be honest with you. He only owes me $900. And I blew my stack. And he's like, well, what did he say? He's like, you're like a unstable 12-year-old. I was like, because I want my money? Because I'm not just sticking up for me anymore. Now I'm going after the ones he does owe money to. And he's saying he sold this movie. Well, see, I've owned a business for better part of my life. I can't work for somebody else. I'm an actor. That's what I do. Right. I can't work for somebody else. I realized that there's a way to do business and then there's the wrong way to do business. He will rob Peter to pay Paul. That's fine until the funds dry up. And now you're just robbing people. You know what I'm saying? Now you're not trying to make amends. You're not trying to make restitution. You're not trying to do any of that. Now you're just trying to say, you need to trust me for another 6 movies. And then maybe if I sell them, you'll get some of your money. I'm an executive producer on Unnatural. I have every right to audit him whenever I want to. Any right. And I still don't know where the movie's being sold to. He said it's being sold and he said he sold it. I don't believe him. If I'm an executive producer, how the hell can I not see those things? How can I not see what you're doing? How can Thomas Mooneyham not see? How can one of the other students who is an executive producer not see where he sold it to, who he sold it to, or what the negotiations were? If I'm an EP, see, Whit's a cult leader. That's what people don't understand about him. But he's not a good cult leader. He's only a good cult leader for maybe 2 or 3 months. And then after that, he's like, well, shit, I don't know what I'm going to do. I just scammed everybody in my cult. Now they're pissed off.
Right. Got to move on.
You got to go somewhere.
Yeah. See that, and that's Ken's history, folks. Ken keeps in motion. I mean, we've left out in the midst of this. Ken was the public face of a black film producing company in Atlanta. Ken is as white as I am, with less hair. I got a little bit more hair than Ken. But I was like, how did Ken get that job? Obviously, charisma. Did he keep it? No, because Ken doesn't have a great track record. No. But it's why he keeps now. Part of what was going on too, and this was what I was following when Unmortal was being produced, is Ken was also running a not-for-profit to help underprivileged youth learn the movie industry.
Forgot all about that. Yeah, I remember that.
So a lot of his, I guess, behind the scenes people that were working on this were youth that were, I don't know if one company was paying the other, because we've seen that in the hobby already. We've seen that, somebody owns 2 or 3 companies, and they have, like, I don't know, verbal contracts with themselves and move money from one to another company. It's like a shell game. Looking at it, the classic shell game. Follow the P. You'll never follow the P.
Well, it's Munderland. It's basically what he's doing in a smaller scale, because he's not smart enough to be a true money launderer.
No,
but what he's doing is he's trying to money the launder. He's trying to launder money that he's getting from the students to pay the instructors, which is fine. That's their prerogative. To pay the instructors to continue to teach. They're enabling him. Anybody who's continuing to give this guy money, you're enabling him. And I know people don't understand it and people are all upset about it, but there's no other way to do it. You're enabling him. If you guys all walk away from this, he gets shut down. And you're seeing people like Thomas Mooneyham, and we're doing we're helping a really cool murder podcast called we're doing and I wasn't sure if you want to be a part of it, but it's called Aftermath of Murder, and we're helping them with their series. And he had a run-in with Whit that just doesn't make sense, because the guy that is in charge of Aftermath of Murder, that's running everything, he was a good friend of Whit, and honest to God, I'm not even kidding you guys, he would defend him, but then he would go, no, wrong is wrong. And so I consider the gentleman that is working that is in charge of the Aftermath of Murder series, I consider him a good friend, a mentor, even, really.
Okay.
And the way Whit treated him, and he was supposed to be a great friend of Whit, and the way Whit treats his great friends, that speaks volumes. You know what I mean? Like when you're just using anybody for money, and you have no sense of humanity, how are you continuing to scam these people? And I've come up with only one option. It's the same thing Charles Manson had. It's the same thing all of these great cult leaders have. They have the ability to talk you into circles until you yourself have to go, well, he must be right, because that's the only thing that makes sense. And then but then he can't do that for a very long time. Did you notice that? He can't talk in circles for more than a month, because then you start to question, well, dude, you told me it was sold 3 years ago. It's now 2024. Where the hell's my money? Like, if it was sold, who were you talking to? If it wasn't sold, fine, great. Just say it. Just say, I'm not going to sell this movie, and pay your actors and do your return of investments, and there will be no problems. No problems whatsoever. And the people he's screwing are the same ones that are going, hey, you did this in the tabletop game. You did this in the comic book game, and now you're going to come over to the actors game, and you're going to try to screw with people who literally have nothing else. This is what we do for a living. Mm-hmm. It finally and all these students, he's a predator. He preys on the students that are like, oh, there's going to be a chance for me to learn on a SAG set. I got to do it. It's only $1,000. I got to do it. It's only, oh, these are the people who are attached. I got to do it. And the problem with that is there's never been a single delivery that he's actually said he was going to do. Now, with that being said, people are getting some kind of reels from Unnatural.
Okay.
I've looked at them. They're garbage. I'm sorry. They're garbage.
Maybe that's why I never cut any demo reels, because he's terrible at it. He can't do it. Oh, man.
He doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to edit. He doesn't know how to do sound. There's a pretty big independent actor group here in Ohio. And Whit's been blackballed, as well as some of the people that works with him. And it has nothing to do with me blackballing him. It has everything to do with, I posted something and then it caught fire. And then people started to question other people's motives. That's not people said they don't need to defend me, so why am I defending them? Correct? If you're going to enable Whit, you're the problem. I don't care if it's black, white, gray. I don't care. Whatever you think you're doing is wrong. But that's okay. they don't, I'm not getting any, like, the most common sense thing to be would be, okay, Keith's pissed off about $900. And anybody who knows me or has known me longer than like a day and a half knows that I don't even have a fuse. I just blow up. I just get pissed and I go nuts. And he's in my crosshairs now because I actually like the people that he's scamming. I actually care about them. Thomas, John, all these people that have been screwed by him. All these people I feel horrible about. And a lot of them are going, well, I'm going to step away. And they have walked away from it. And that's what needs to happen. But what's going on now currently with Whitman or Ken or whatever the hell you want to call him is right now he's claiming he's going to start a 501c3. That man couldn't be in charge of a 501c3 ever. See, 501c3, for those people who are not stupid, understand that a 501c3 is not for profit.
Right.
All that man does is stuff for profit. He pays his bills with it, and I found out he had a court case that he lost, and he's on a payment plan. So that means he's taking that money to settle his other lawsuits. How the hell are people not figuring this out yet? Well, what happens is, just like you guys said, it's very charismatic, right? Very, very charismatic. Here's the issue. These retreats were fun as hell. I'm not going to lie. I had a damn blast at these things. I met so many cool people. It was so fun. That's how he gets them. Oh, we'll come back for the second one because it's going to be just as fun. And that might be true. But the problem is then these people have to understand. And if they do understand, then they need to just say it. You're no longer paying Whit for anything that has to do with movies. You're paying Whit for an experience and to hang out with him. That's fine, Whit. Just say that's what you're doing. Just say you're going to give me $1,000. You're going to see no return. Nothing's going to happen, but you'll have one hell of a time doing it. And I bet you people are going to go, I don't need to pay $1,000 to make friends. That's just not what actors do. We don't do that. And so now he, and of course I'm going to sue you. Come at me, Whit. Sue me with your pretend lawyers, brother, because it's not going to happen. He has breached contract. Until he pays me, I can say whatever I want without a breach of contract because he hasn't fulfilled his. And everything I'm saying is true. You can look it up. You can Google it. This is all stuff other people have said. It's just happening in a circle again. And now that it's happened in a circle, I feel bad. And I genuinely feel bad for the people who are going to go to Unnatural 2, expecting this movie to get your return, to get your posters, to get your autographs, to hang out with Al, to hang out with Darren, hang out with John. I feel bad for these people that they think they're going there to do something and they're not. They're going there to hang out with friends. That's all you're doing. And friends they haven't met yet. So they're going out, and you may make a movie if he can direct it properly. But I'm telling you right now, when John Wells isn't there to make sure he is 100%, not a douchebag, he cannot direct. He doesn't know how. He doesn't know how to talk to the students. He doesn't know how to yell action, cut, nothing. Nothing. I'm going to tell you something. This is people are going to laugh. Maybe, I don't know, because people are going to say, well, you don't know how to direct. I went to Unnatural as an assistant director. I take weed gummies. I like them. After a hard day of work, I pop a weed gummy because it's legal, and then I go to sleep. I asked him, I'm like, hey, are we done shooting this? And he's like, yeah, we're done for the night. It's like 1 o'clock in the morning. I pop a weed gummy. 20 minutes later, he goes, you need to go direct this next one. All right, bro, but I'm blitzed as shit. Like, I don't know what it's going to look like, but I'll go do it. You know what I mean? I'm high as hell. And so I go and we go and do I go and do the scene, and I'm like, I forgot to yell cut. Like, that's how blitzed I was. I'm just staring at the screen like, wow, they're really good. And I never yelled cut. And so I say that because I'm sure that's going to come up, and which is fine. But the whole time he didn't direct. I mean, he was yelling at students. He was yelling. I mean, he doesn't know how to talk to. And these are students. We did a movie called Murder by Association. Me personally, and I guarantee you, there's probably 3 people watching and or commenting in here that can verify this. Anybody, if you're listening, please verify this. I had to stop 4 people from leaving that set to finish that movie. He was racist towards one of the to one of the actors. He told one of the actors, he was like, I just don't think you're going to be able to get to where I want you to get to. Okay, but she's new. So why don't you direct her? Why don't you coach her, you dumbass?
That's the job, right? But he doesn't.
Correct.
He doesn't do the job.
He does not. So then we go. So then I'm the star of 12 Till Dawn, right? It's this vampire movie. It was fun. I liked it. Did it by a whole crew. We did there. My company was there. Listen to this. It was another retreat. He walks into one of the classes that I'm teaching. And he goes, well, I didn't really care about this because this was all just local actors. I didn't think it was going to happen. What the hell what does that say to the people that paid $500, $600, $1,000, $1,500 when you walk in and look at them and say, well, I didn't really care about this project because you all were local? What a hunk of garbage to say that. Mm. And then that's when I checked out. And you can look at our, I have text messages between me and this idiot. And I'm not, like, legal actions don't scare me. What's he going to do? Nothing. What's he going to threaten me with? Nothing. He goes, well, Keith caused me $500,000 worth of damage. My response is good. It needs to be more. It needs to be $2 million worth of damages. You need to be put in your place, Whit. And you think that he goes, well, I used to have an anger problem. Bro, you can't even walk. What the hell are you going to do to me with your anger that I would be even remotely afraid of? Don't threaten me. Like, don't threaten me or anybody. Like, just give me a break.
Well, Keith, let me ask you just real quick before I forget it. So for those who don't know, SAG is a Screen Actors Guild. It's a union basically. Is there no repercussions to say you're SAG and you're not SAG? Because it'd be like I could tomorrow say, I work for the ACLU and I don't really work for the ACLU. I would never go around telling people that. I mean, that just seems like that's kind of an actionable thing right there to tell people that you work for a union or that you're part of a union you're not part of.
Well, so the way he words it, this is the thing. Again, this goes back to the charismatic, I'm going to talk in circles. He's never actually said he was SAG. What he said was, you have a chance to learn from a SAG-like set. He thinks he wants his sets like SAG, but he doesn't. I know for anybody who listen to this shit, I'm an instructor. It is 12:30, maybe 1 o'clock in the morning. I got a group of people around a fire. We filmed at a place called Possum Trot for Unnatural, and it was it's a ghost town basically. It's Wild West. It's got all the Wild West vibes. It's a nice place if you want to film. To be honest, there. They got cabins. It's a really nice place. And so I'm outside with students talking to them, and he goes, I have a yellow card. If I give you a yellow card, that means you'd be kicked off a SAG set. He handed the students I'm with a yellow card and goes, well, if you were on a SAG set, you'd be kicked off because I told you to go to bed at 12. And I went, listen, asshole, you don't tell anybody to go to bed. They're grown-ass adults. No SAG set's going to tell you have to be in bed by midnight. Now, if you screw up on set, you're out. You know what I mean? If you're drunk and everything else, you're done. Nobody tells another grown man when to go to bed. We're not in the freaking military. Like, that doesn't happen. And so I looked at the students, throw that away. I go, I'm not honoring this. I'm not, stay out here. We'll keep talking. We'll keep hanging out. Screw that. Like, I'm not doing that. He thinks he knows what he's talking about. What he does is he surrounds himself with people who know more than he does, and then he pretends he's in charge of the people who know more than he does. That's not true. Like, we are in charge because, dude, if you're looking at your boss and you go, like, let's just pretend you're an actor and you go to a director and you say, well, is this going to be a close-up or a medium? And he goes, well, I don't know. You're probably going to walk away because you're like, isn't that your job to know if I'm going to be close up or if it's going to be a medium on screen?
Right.
He doesn't know how to direct, and he doesn't know how to do these things business-wise. He doesn't know how to act. We've seen that from his 80 things he tries to put on YouTube or whatever. He's a horrible actor. My question is to the students and to the people who are supporting this man, why? Why are you doing it? You see, and it's not like I've made this up. I said, you guys aren't getting your reels. That was in 2024. You guys just mentioned that the people weren't getting their reels from back 2016.
Pretty much, yeah.
I mean,
isn't this just what's it called? Sunk funds?
mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a sunk funds fallacy. They've already invested so much they don't want to think that what they've invested is worth nothing, and so they're just trying to hang on to this little bit of, well, if I just keep hanging out here and keep doing this, maybe whatever Whit said will happen will eventually happen and materialize.
Right.
But yeah,
right.
that's why it's called the sunk funds fallacy, because you're not doing yourself any good by hanging on to stuff like that's never going to happen.
Right. The sunk cost. Yeah.
Sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah, and that's the whole thing too. Right? Nobody wants to say I got scammed. I got fucked over. I got this piece of shit has me for $500, but maybe if I put another 500 into the pot, maybe I get back 1,000.
Sure.
No, you're going to be at 1,000.
But you're right. I mean, that's what he does, though. He basically takes it. He takes this cup and he says, "Well, I can't fill it up, but if you fill it up for me, I'll give you the glass." And he never gives anybody the glass. He just got people filling up his cup.
He needs the glass to fill up with more of your fun.
Well, yeah, exactly. And Whit goes, well, my circle doesn't want to be part of your circle anymore. I go, dude, your circle's a triangle. I don't want to be part of your pyramid scheme. I'll take my circle that knows not to be part of scams, not to enable people. I'll take that circle instead of this giant pyramid that you're scamming these people on. And I made a blanket post. The blanket post was, I don't want to out anybody that I'm technically friends with, right? My problem is I made the blanket post. If be friends with people who are going to defend you in rooms you're not in. Whit will never be one of those people. Whit would never defend anybody in a room that those people aren't in. I've witnessed it on every single set this man has done. Every single set. He finds he treats them like dollar signs, which is fine. I run a business. That's what you're supposed to do. But with that dollar sign comes humanity, because you either want partners to work with, or you're going to get the quick scam. You're going to get the quick buck and have to move every 5 seconds. I mean, how many states has this jackass lived in? And he's still doing it. My problem is, like, oh, you're going to lose friends over this. Really? Am I going to lose friends over a scam and me calling it like I see it? Anybody else would.
Wherever Whit is now, I'm going to guarantee you, Keith, in 2 years, he's not going to be there. I mean, both physically and job-wise. He does not stay places very long, because he just wears his welcome out after about 2 years is usually about his average. After about 2 years, he moves on. He wears his welcome out.
And when I reached out, to the show, honestly, it wasn't just like me reaching out of nowhere. I've already watched your guys' stuff a lot. Like, I mean, the past 2 years, I paid real close attention to what you guys are doing. And there's a gentleman named Scott Hansen. He's the one. He was a cinematographer. It was his company on Murder by Association.
Okay.
So he broke. I mean, it was an insane expensive light. I mean, just an absolute insane expensive light. Didn't pay for it. Lied about having production insurance. And then this guy, Scott, basically had to pay for this $1,500 light, or 16 cents. It was probably way more than that. Basically shot the whole thing for free. The whole thing for free. And then Whit has the balls to go, well, he's pissed off because he was trying to scam somebody. No, man, you said you had production insurance and you didn't have it. And then you couldn't pay him because he had to use the money you paid him to buy the light you broke. Like, are you shitting me? How do people continue to do this? And again, I've talked over and over and over again about I would never talk bad about the instructors. I think they did exactly what the students asked them to do. I think they did. Maybe I'm biased because I was an instructor, but I think they did exactly what we were supposed to do. My issue comes with, I dropped this shit. Because I'm not gonna go. How the hell do you sleep at night going, oh, I just took Tom Mooneyham's money and I'm gonna make a second movie? You were part of the first scam. Mm-hmm. It's your obligation to back out. It's your obligation to go, is the money worth my humanity? And evidently to people it is. And that's their prerogative. But don't dare call me out or dare say anything about me, because I'm defending myself and the people you won't. And I guarantee you, and again, all good people, it's a check. I get it. Everybody needs to eat. It's a check. But when you're getting paid with money that you're supposed to be paying other people, that's a problem. When you have actors getting paid off of money, it's my money basically. I'm paying whoever he's paying. I am, because he didn't give me my $900. He didn't pay my crew. So I'm paying you. You're damn right now I got a problem with you when you can't figure that out because you're too dense. Well,
he's not dense. Ken is listen, and anybody who says, oh, Ken's issues are his ADHD, I'm not saying he is a little flighty. That's not his issues. Ken is very smart. All right.
Right.
But Ken is one of those people, and we know them from the gaming industry. I'm not going to name any names, that for some reason can't do an honest day's work to make an honest buck.
Right.
Ken has to, and maybe it's the thrill of knowing that, hey, I'm living on the edge. I am finagling somebody else's money to enable this. He's doing the I'll gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. That old Wimpy from Popeye, right?
That's right.
Look at this way though. He's really good. He's really good at this. And if you ever read about conman or look, who was the guy that made the guy that made the movie about that was the master conman in the 60s?
Oh, the guy that became a pilot.
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah,
his book is very interesting, but that they don't. Life to them isn't. You're not real to them. You're just the people that you scam on. They don't. It's not really a sociopathic. It's just that they don't feel anything for it. That they're getting away with this scam. That's what they do. They're really good at it, and so they just do it. And their whole thing is they figure if you fall for it, you deserve it. This is something you should not give them money if you don't think this is going to happen. But there's a whole psychology to con men, and this is how they act. They just don't believe you're real. They don't think that you're a real person, and they justify it in their head every which way they can. Oh, well, they'll be able to make money another way. Oh, they'll be able to do okay. If they just trusted me, I could have made money. They just make all these different things up in their head why they're doing this. But it all comes down to the fact they're just good at it. He's really good at separating people from his money. He's very good at being a nice guy and a friend. And Eric, I forgot about this, but I just remembered it. Do you remember when Marcus took him in? Marcus King, the late comic book store owner, took him in because they were friends and everything. I don't know if you remember. Do you remember he made a short film and put Marcus in it? It was the Axeman origin or something.
Oh God, yes.
So by the way, another way he got sideways with the Walking Dead people, he made a movie about that character without anybody's blessing except himself. Although he didn't say the Walking Dead anywhere there, he just called himself Axeman. And he wore the same clothes and had the same axe he did in the TV show, and it was like a short film about him walking around doing something, but Marcus was in that movie, so he basically, rewarded Marcus for like, hey, you're letting me live in the back room of your comic book store or whatever. Here, you could be in my movie, and this is something people do. Is it's always a carrot. They're always dangling this carrot in front of you. Hey, I don't know if this is going to lead to real business or anything, but Marcus, you're going to be in my movie. People are going to see you in a movie, and it's a short film. And this, of course, I say it's a short film. It was like if you or I took a video camera out to the river and filmed each other. I mean, it's not really a short movie. It's just him. By the way, and Axeman never spoke either. He just grunted, so he didn't have a speaking role in his own movie.
Oh, even Ken knows his own limits, I guess, right?
Yeah, he knows limitations. Yeah, he knew his limitations. But these people they're just good at giving you what you want. They look at you the same with Jolly. Look, I'm sure Jolly wanted his whole life to see Knights at the Dinner Table live action, and it was a great idea. It's a great idea, and apparently the finished film was really fun and everything. But he came, that's why he was able to fool Jolly not once but twice, because he came to him, stole from him, and then came back later and said, "Oh, I found Jesus. It's all better." And he's going to give you what you want, and that's what he gives these poor students to talk about, Keith. They think they're going to get what they want. They think they're going to get, experience in the movie industry. This guy's been in TV shows and movies, and I'm going to get a demo reel, and this, he just projects onto you what you want, and you say, this is a nice guy, he's going to give me what. It's hard to believe people are assholes, really. I mean, really, it's tough when they're as nice as him, when they come on as nice as him when you first meet him.
Well, and in this industry, you have super hungry actors. You have people who are like, oh, I'm going to be in front of a camera. This is my shot. I'm going to get a reel. I'm going to get, for us actors, that does matter. You know what I mean? Like when you have a director go, yeah, you're going to learn SAG stuff. You're going to learn how to act on a stage. You're going to learn, the right ways to act from instructors that are award-winning actors. That matters to these people. And it's not a bad thing. Actors are supposed to be hungry. I mean, that's how we live. We live gig to gig. And that's why when they're like, oh, I have an obligation to be there, okay, maybe you have an obligation. But don't you have an obligation instead to say, stop the scam? Stop it.
Right.
Pay these people before you pay me, and then I'll be all right. But no, that's not how they look at it. What they look at it is, oh, I'm a hungry actor. I'm going to pay $1,000 to learn a whole bunch of stuff, and from the instructors, they will learn. They will absolutely learn from John. They will learn from Darren, and they will learn from whoever else he's got instructing, because it ain't going to be me. But he will learn. They will learn from them. Those are top-notch actors in this industry. But the problem is, why are you enabling somebody to scam these students? Why wouldn't you say, no, I am not going to do this until they get their money? And that's fine. In productions, things happen. I was supposed to hire John Wells to be in my Revivalist movie. I was like, dude, you got to block out like the whole month of December. I was like, because it's going to be, we're going to be filming with Eric Roberts. We're going to be doing a lot of stuff. Well, it fell through. And what his day rate was. And I go, you know what? I'll even try to pay your day rate for you. You know what I mean? Like, even though it was gone, I'll try to give you something. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff happened. And I didn't, I didn't deliver on that. Now, we had no contract. The project fell through. It never happened. I told him the project fell through. It wasn't going to happen. I said, I will try to get you your money. That way you can, that way. But I just realized he got it already. He's getting paid from my shit. So, of course, I don't have to pay him. He already got it. Whit paid him for me. So that debt's clear, right? I mean, in productions, things fall apart. I understand that. But the problem is, if you accept that money, you're obligated to either pay it back, or you're obligated to say in the contract to say, like, hey, this is an investment. There's no guarantee of it. If you lose it, you lose it. But then you can't keep asking for more and more money on top of that. You can't say, oh, well, the reason it didn't happen was because, I was $1,500 short. Do you got it? No, asshole, I don't have it. Go do what you said you were going to do. Or tell me the truth. Tell me the truth. You didn't sell it. You have no buyers. Just tell me the truth. And if you did sell it, why can an executive producer not audit you? Why can I not find out who you sold it to, when you sold it, and how much you sold it to? Because I have a percentage of that. I have a percentage of what is sold. So how the hell, as an investor, and I didn't invest, but how the hell, as an executive producer, do I not have that ability, or how can you just get away with it?
Well, so, I can tell you right now, in Ken's world, or Whitman's world, or whatever you want to call it, folks, in Ken's world, you are quite simply a source of funds.
Right.
Anything else, he would call you whatever you want. What do you want to be? Do you want to be the editor? Yeah, hey, what do you want? You want to be the producer? You want to be the director? You can be whatever you want, so long as you give me money. You are whatever you want, but don't ask for it. But you're not going to get anything.
No.
Because you are a source of money. And once Unnatural 2, once it dries up, as people realize that Ken is not actually producing anything, and if Ken had sold the movie, if Ken had sold Unnatural 1, you wouldn't hear the end of it on social media.
Oh, I know.
He would be bragging, hey, I sold this to Sony Pictures. It was picked up by Amazon Prime to be part of it. Wherever it landed, Ken would tell you, go direct to video under Buena Vista or something like that, he would never shut up about it. The fact that he isn't talking about it tells you, quite simply, as usual, Whitman might be full of shit.
Yep. Right. I mean, right.
Just saying. And it's a way. I always feel like whenever and folks, I will say I'm surprised but not disappointed we haven't had a guest, because usually it's like Candyman. You bring up MJ.
Come on, we're holding the room for you, Whit. Come on. So I don't know if we told Keith. We told Keith this. Whit's popped into our chat before and told us if we would just let him on the show, he could straighten all this mess up with the Kickstarter and everything.
Anything you want. I'll tell you.
You can ask me any question you want, and I'll answer truthfully. And then the kicker though was because it's all not my fault, and we're like, whoa, power down, because he doesn't want to. Okay, so it's going to be blaming everybody else for your problems again, and we've already done that, and so we were like, no, we don't want you on the show because it doesn't do any good if you're not going to admit what you did wrong, and you're just going to cling to this thing. We're like, no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was,
Right. And here's the problem. The problem is I got tired of hearing one more week. One more week, I'll give you the money. One more week. That was a year ago. Like, dude, there's only so many weeks in a year, you idiot. Like, what? Like, okay, now it's 2024, jackass. Like, where the hell's my money? Where is it? And Whit won't. He's watching. I guarantee he is, but he's scared of me. Whit's terrified of me because I'll beat his ass. I don't give a shit. Like, if he, and here's the thing. Again, I don't talk bad about Darren, John, and them, but the only, like, Darren, without Darren, like Darren has helped so much and tried to help Whit be a better person. I don't mean like help scam. That's not what I mean.
No.
Darren tried to legitimately help him be a better person, and it's like no one gets through to him. It's like this is the excuse I'm tired of hearing. I genuinely don't think Whit's a bad person. Then you're an idiot. If you don't think Whit is genuinely doing this, then you are a jackass and you choose not to see it. That's a decision you are making. If you think this guy is an okay character and he just makes bad decisions, once is a mistake, twice is a choice, 3 times, it's a career.
I mean, well, Keith just tell me it's been going on for 25 years. At a certain point, wouldn't you have made a good decision somewhere in there? I mean, come on. You can't just make negative decisions for 25 years. And at some point, you had to have done something that worked out or was good. And just his track record speaks for itself. The fact that this has been going on since the early aughts, that he's been basically running the same schemes over and over again where he takes your money and doesn't give you what he promised to give you. I mean, it's just, that's just the way he does. It's the way he lives now. That's his life now. That's what he knows. He knows how to do that.
Right. And back to, and this is the real reason I'm coming out about all this. His 501c3, it's not real. There is no 501c3. How the hell is he getting away with this?
Well, and now it's funny because I got some information coming in on my side screen about the 501c3, the School of Cinematic Arts.
The School of Cinematic Arts, yes.
Ken started it, but he didn't finish filing all the paperwork. This sounds like typical Ken Whitman.
That's so Whitman. Oh, that's so Whitman.
So he filed the initial paperwork, but he didn't file enough to actually be certified as a nonprofit. But I guess he filed enough to, I don't know, pretend that he is one or plays one on TV. And he's apparently telling the students that if you work 480 hours, he'll pay their tuition out of this nonprofit.
Yeah,
I really feel sorry for people that are going to fall for this.
Yeah, so 12 weeks of full-time work. And if you're working in the movie or film industry, folks, and I know this, I don't work in it, but I do know one or two that have dabbled in it. A 40-hour work week is what those of us in the real world consider work.
Right.
If you're working in the film industry, it's famine or feast.
Absolutely.
And you're not working, or an 80-hour work week is a light work week.
Yeah,
right? Because you are doing 12-hour days, 7 days a week.
Oh yeah,
minimum.
Well, and it's funny you said the real jobs that you guys like the people who actually work for a living. You guys, we don't work for a living. That we play make believe. I'm sorry, that's what we do.
No, I got you.
We pretend every day. Every time I get in front of that camera, I respect. The people who have like some of these actors have real jobs, like real jobs. They work for. They're spending their hard ass earned money on that. Those are 40-hour work days where you're not having fun sometimes. You know what I mean? So like for us actors, it sucks. We work over sometimes, but at least we're just playing make believe. These people that are giving him their money, they're the ones that are working 40 hours in a slave job, trying to get out of their stuff, trying to figure out what's going on. Or, some of these people can't afford food, but they can give him the money in hopes that it gets them somewhere. And that's the scam I'm done with. That's what I'm done with.
See now we're touching on something that I think we've actually all kind of stepped around without even realizing it. Ken preys on people's dreams.
Exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly right.
And if you are someone who is looking to fleece people, hypothetically, right? The easiest, we've seen this in the folks, if you followed my recent legal action where I had a case against me going for 18 months, it's similar stuff, working off of people and promising them, hey, if you work with me, you're going to be a great game publisher. Oh, you're going to be, people will know you. You'll be famous. You're going to be this. You're going to be that.
The Kickstarter is your work of art is going to be a movie. And that's a powerful draw for these people to say, wow.
That is.
I do is, my game is going to be a movie. Yes. That you're absolutely right, Eric. He preys on people's dreams. That's exactly what he does.
And he doesn't. And the problem is he doesn't care. He has no remorse for it. If you have, like I said, 1 time is a mistake, 2 times is a choice, 48 times is a career. He's a career scammer. And I had to back away. Whether they're getting paid to do it, that's their business, whatever. I don't care. I don't agree with it. And they know I don't agree with it. They think I think it's horseshit. But that's their prerogative. My thing is I'm going to step away. I'm going to back I don't need the money. I just don't. I don't need to work with Whit to make a living. I don't have to do that. I can go anywhere in Cleveland. I can go anywhere in Atlanta. I can go anywhere in LA. I can do that. I'm not so hungry that I'm going to take every role that comes my way. Never have, never will. I have another company that I fall back on that, that I do. And so it's like, you have all these people coming to you going, why are we all enabling this to happen? I think those are the real questions. If people stepped away from this man and said, dude, thanks for paying me, but you kind of didn't pay the other 74 people. How do you he pays the people he pays for friendship. That's what he does. He pays for loyalty, which is fine. I don't mind about that. What I have a problem with is when you try to call him out, you're the problem. You're the 12-year-old. You're the one that's mentally unstable. You're the one that just is full of drama. You're the one that blows up. Get the hell out of here.
We went through all this, Keith, in the RPG. That he had his defenders in the RPG world too. Like I said, a lot of it was sunk cost fallacy, but a lot of it, I think it's just people they want to give people the benefit of the bad doubt because we're very forgiving people. The human race or the American race or whatever you want to say. We love a good forgiveness story, right? We love to forgive people when they did something wrong, especially if they apologize for it and say, we're sorry and I'm going to do better again. And so we saw the same thing Eric and I did when he was in the RPG world, where he would get these people that just would not, just would not see him for what he was. And they would defend him online. They would, hey, well, he just had some bad times, man. He's had some bad luck. And my whole thing is, you can't have that much bad luck. I mean, if you have that much bad luck, you probably need just to quit whatever you're doing and go in a monastery or something, or find out how your karma got so messed up because it was just, one thing after another for years and years and years. But for wherever he goes, he's able to engender loyalty from just a certain amount of people. And he gets these people to defend him. Remember his he had his fiance, Eric. Remember that?
Oh,
the girl who was fiance.
She owned, or her family owned, a hotel.
He took her for everything. He wiped her out. He wiped her out. And even then,
he had to sell the hotel for his debts.
Yeah, she still wasn't 100%. He's a piece of crap. I mean, she did, she was, he did this, and this, but it was kind of the same thing you're saying, Keith. Like, but he was a nice guy. He was a nice guy. Just, he doesn't know how to run a business or whatever. It was always an excuse for him. And I'm thinking, man, he got engaged to you. He took all your money. He left you, but he's still not a bad guy. He's just this guy, And don't you think a lot of it has, maybe people blame themselves too? Like, well, maybe part of it was my fault. I shouldn't have trusted the guy. And so I don't know. He's just always been able to pull these guys in. He's always been able to pull these people in that trust him and that will defend him. So it's nothing new. Nothing new.
And the only thing is, I'm okay with I'm okay with you trying to defend the character of a person. Here's where the defense. Here's where, if we're in a court of law, the defense is over. You don't get to defend somebody when you have massive amounts of proof coming against them, saying they screwed me, him, and 90% of the gaming community, 90% of the comic community, and now he's doing it 90% of the acting community, and he's doing it under your name. He's doing it under saying, oh well, these actors, John Wells and Al Snow said we're still good. How? Like, how are you still good? How are you okay with that? Oh, because you got paid. Well,
right.
That's fine, but then don't get pissed off at the person. Again, I'm not talking bad about John or Darren. Both of them are top-notch actors. Both of them are very, very, very trustworthy people. So I'm not talking bad about any of them. My problem is how in the hell are we still enabling somebody to go, yeah, we'll do it 58 times. And he always says, oh, well, I've changed. I'm changing.
You've noticed that too. Yeah. So.
Yeah. But then he tries to tell people, see, I do I call it the Eminem method, where if you're going to call me out, you're not going to have a chance because I call myself out before you have a chance to call me out. Mm-hmm. He does the same thing, but he makes it look like it's other people's problems. Like he'll say, oh, well, I had a bad past. I told all my students I have a bad past. But what did you tell him, Whit? Did you tell him you have a bad past and you made up for it? Did you tell him you had a bad past and you made restitution for it? No. You just tell him you've had a bad past and you've changed now. And hope to God people don't figure out who Ken Whitman is while you're under the guise of Whit Whitman. It's that's the game he plays, and that's how he does it. And I'm going to tell you something that's probably going to make people upset, but you're going to hear it first here. He had a guy give him $30,000 to go to AFM. It's a film. It's a giant film buyers, right? You go there, you pay your films. So you get a hotel room basically, and all these buyers come in and start looking. It's a decent thing. It's a pretty big deal if you're a director or you're a showrunner or you're a producer or something like that. So this guy, Charles, gave him $30,000. 2 weeks later, he ends up dead. Died. Now, I'm going to be fair. He wasn't in the best of health. But I'm going to call bullshit on some things. Like, dude, how the hell did he end up dying? How did he end up dying after giving you $30,000, taking part of your company? Where's he at? Now, I'm not saying Whit killed him. I don't think Whit's smart enough to kill anybody. But I know he's smart enough to see an opportunity. And the opportunity was, this man has no health, but he's got money. And so all I got to do is outlive him. And that's exactly what he did. And that $30,000 never has to be paid back now. But what the hell did he do with the $30,000? Because it sure as hell wasn't paying me. It wasn't paying Thomas Mooneyham back. It wasn't paying John DeMoss his back. And John said they promised to give him his money in December. Then, I don't know if you guys were paying attention to my Facebook, but I posted all of it. I
was watching some of those conversations. Yep.
Dude, he went to my business partner, who he owes money to, and was like, "Well, you should get away from Keith because, well, I can make you a fortune. If you come with me, I could pay you a salary." My business partner texted back, goes, "What? You can't even pay me the $900 you owe me. You want me to leave a company that I make money with to go to a company that is a scam?" And then he went to my other employee, Raymond, and was like, "Well, can you come cook for me? Because I don't have anybody to cook for a natural." And Raymond was like, "No, you still." And he goes, "I'll pay you the money Keith owes you." Now, you can ask any one of my crew members. You can ask Raymond. You can ask Tyler. He said that he told Raymond the money that that Keith owes you. I paid Whit's debt to my crew. That's why I want my money. I already paid them when he wouldn't pay them. And I let it slide. And I let it go. And I told everybody, I said, I'm gonna start saying things that are truthful that you can look up, you can Google, or you can personally ask any one of these people, any one of them, and they will tell you the same thing I'm saying without a hint of exaggeration. It'll be the same story word for word, because we've been dealing with it for 2 years. We've watched this guy screw people for 2 years, and that finally like I said, at that retreat, when he went to those students who I care about and said, well, I didn't really care about this project because it was local. What does that say to me? I'm the star of the movie. What does that say to the person I have filming it? Because he came to film it. And what does it say to all those people that gave you thousands of dollars? It says you're a piece of garbage. And those people won't be going back to him anymore.
Well, they've served their purpose, right? They're not going to be in Unmortal 2, and that's a bridge he's willing to burn. And like you said, he pays those that he knows he needs the loyalty of, and other parts are more interchangeable. And if you're interchangeable, you're not valuable. All right. I mean, your value only is what is needed at the moment. And if you're not needed,
do you mind if I read something real quick to you?
Yeah.
So he just posted this on Little Monsters Entertainment. He said the Community Film Collaboration, CFC, is more than just a film project. It's a transformative experience for young adults aged 16 to 24 through the Kentucky State Program. We offer paid training in film editing and marketing. Okay. In just the past year, 3 participants expressed interest in editing. Now they're equipped with skills that will open doors to exciting new careers in the industry, which otherwise they would have to spend years in college to learn. Morgan was a student from the community and hired by Little Monsters Entertainment, stating, "I am grateful for the opportunities Ken Whitman has given me." Here, that's how you know he's listening, guys. That's how you know he's listening. What did we just talk about?
Mm-hmm.
That was posted 4 minutes ago.
That
was
well.
Yeah.
Well.
Ken, if you're listening, finish filing your FTP.
Yeah, hello, Ken. Yeah, it's good to know you're still listening, Ken. We need it. It helps out.
Hey, Whit, let me ask you this. Show me the 501c3 file. Post it. Show me. Post it on your Little Monsters Entertainment. Show me the 50C. Show me the 501c3. Show it to me. If you can't, the class action lawsuit still stands, pal.
By the way, Ken, just so you know, all right, because I follow the 501c3 for the Gygax Memorial Fund. I know how to access the filings. I can find it in any state. If I can find it, and there have been 501c3s that I haven't been able to find, like there isn't one for the Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't exist. All right. Mm-hmm. So, and there have been claims of otherwise. I am telling you now, I've got something to look into. And Ken, yeah. you know my history with you. And you know I will look into it. So either I would suggest that you either get your paperwork completed or you cancel your application, because it isn't going to work out very well, I don't think.
No, for one, with your class, I mean, I do have a class action. I mean, that it's not just me. There was like 60 people that jumped on this.
Oh, God bless.
Here's the problem with that. Whit, you don't have one. So if you can't prove it, what the hell are you talking about? The CFC? I can make up anagram. Yeah, the BDFT and the GDFR and the FPFTs, they're working real good for me too, jackass. I can make up 3-letter things that don't mean anything either, moron. Just be real. Just be truthful. Say, fuck, I did it again. I screwed everybody out of their money again. He won't do that, though. And I know he's posting. That's great. Show it to me. 501c3s, much like my LLC, has proof of filing. Show me, pal. Show me your 501c3.
So Ken, just so you know, I have real-time fact-checking going on thanks to this community. So, Community Film Collaborative Incorporated is inactive for not filing Form 990 is missing from the state's records. Now, the 990 form, by the way, is what's put in with the tax return. That gives you details on what the money was spent on. So, again, I follow this on other nonprofits, community-based. I just got another one I got to follow now. It's okay, Ken. I mean...
And that's the problem. And again, I don't have problems with any of the instructors. None of them. But with this proof, how the hell can you back this? How can you go? And if you say it's because the students, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to say the most honest thing that they've probably ever heard in their life. If you want to help the students, back away. Do one-on-ones. Make Zooms. Do something. But don't dare tell me you're doing it for the students, because that's just a cop-out. I'm sorry. It's just a cop-out. And that's fine. But don't, I'm done getting walked all over in this industry by people who don't matter. Whit does not matter. The only reason we're talking about him is because not that he's influential in the movie industry, not that he's influential in the gaming industry. The only reason we're talking about him is because he is influential in the scamming community. He probably has a whole damn Reddit page dedicated to him, I'm sure, about how to.
Well, he's got a whole. Are we gonna give a prop to?
Not another dime.
Not another dime. He has an entire webpage dedicated to him. It's called Not Another Dime, and it goes through. If you like everything we've talked about tonight, which God knows it has to beat people down, but if you're interested in reading more about this, go to Not Another Dime. It's a well-documented history of Ken that goes back years, and it is well documented. It is absolutely the first and last and only place to send people, Keith, if you want them to know what this guy's been up to for the last few years. It's a very well researched and very well documented page. So we should link that, Eric, in the comments. Give me
a second.
Well, and here's the other issue that I have. So TXG just posted, wouldn't making a claim of a 501c3 that doesn't exist bring the IRS and the FTC into the case? 100%. 100% it does. When you file, see, this is the business side of me coming out. When you file a 501c3, which I would never do because I'm a for-profit, I like money. I would never claim to be a 501c3 ever. But if you file for a 501c3 and it gets turned down, we don't know if it got turned down or not. We just said it wasn't finished filing. We don't know why. But if it got turned down and you're still acting as a 501c3, that's prison time. That is 100% without a doubt prison time. And I won't shut up until he hears my voice coming from can Keith visit me in prison? Because I will. I will visit the shit out of him.
Make sure you get some commissary funds, because I mean that's important, man.
I want to see him scam somebody in prison for their ramen, because I'm telling you right now, he ain't making it out of there. He would get his ass beat 2 seconds into that shower.
I'll gladly toss you Tuesday for ramen today.
Yeah. It's becoming it became something bigger than it was. I was just pissed off that I didn't get paid. And then when I posted that, everybody started posting it. I never got my stuff. I didn't get what I was promised. I didn't get this. Oh, he finally sent me a reel. What's the reel look like? Well, the reel looks like garbage because he doesn't know how to edit. So who the hell is he teaching to edit? I mean, he has AI do most of it. It's just, to me, it just blows my mind that there's people that are still backing him, still doing things. And I have yet to been told, oh man, I'm sorry that that this is happening. But you're right. I got to step away because when that happens, then maybe I'll give a shit. Until then, I'm not going to shut up. When he goes to jail, then I'll be quiet. That's a long time. And I got a lot of breath. Even though I smoke 10 packs of cigarettes a day, I got a lot of breath in my lungs for that man.
Well, you're just, you could add your name to the long line of people who are, by the way, Eric, something else I forgot too to add. When the last time Elmore was at North Texas, and then this is, I heard this from Elmore's very lips. He thinks Ken's a piece of shit too. So just letting you know, Ken, if you're listening, that Larry Elmore is not really your friend. You probably thought maybe you thought he was a great artist, Larry Elmore. Yeah, he doesn't like you. He we were talking about one night, somebody very carefully brought up the subject of Ken Whitman because they knew that you'd done business with him. And he said, "Oh man, he has that really twangy Tennessee accent or whatever, the Kentucky accent. Oh man, that guy's a piece of shit. I can't believe I work with it." Yeah. And he just went out and I was like, nice. So yeah. So Ken, I know you probably had illusions you were Larry Elmore's friend. I just want you to know he thinks you're a piece of garbage. So sorry, man.
Which the only thing is 90% of the people that actually work with this guy think he's garbage. And that's fine. It's the ones that go, well, I don't think he's bad. No, bro. He's been bad since 1992, evidently. Like, it's 2024. If you can't see that this dude's been doing this longer than I've been alive, there's a problem. And it's not with Whit, then. It's with you.
Like I said, Ken, don't get offended when I say this, all right? I'm giving my opinion. But I believe Ken and people like Ken get more of an excitement out of doing this work. We're going to use parentheses for this work, the hard way, the Ponzi way, because there's more excitement in it for them than doing something that could actually, I don't know, not just be profitable, but be profitable for more than just Whit. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't think I am. I really don't think I am.
It just to me, it blows my mind because we're sitting here watching, and I watched him implode. That was quite fun. Watching him implode is probably more fun than I've had watching any binge TV series. Watching him double down, back down, freak out, and then try to tell these people, well, it's the Keith problem. No, idiot. It's not the Keith problem. It's the, oh, crap, I've been doing this since 1992 problem, and Keith's got a louder mouth. That's the problem. He found out that I don't shut up. And I have more of a reach than he does. He tried to get, I'm friends with Eric Roberts, Julia Roberts' brother.
Okay.
We're real good friends. And he's trying to get Roberts to go to some of these retreats. And Roberts like, I'm not going to a scam. If that doesn't speak volumes, I don't know what does anymore. Like all he is somebody who is going to scam you for your next dollar, and then he's going to go dark and you'll never hear from him again. After he's realized he can't fulfill his promises, he's going to try to do it now. He's going to try to give these people their reels. He's going to try to do it. No one cares about that. They want their money they put in. That's what they want. They want the people who are asking for money. That's what we want. Deliver the money, Whit. Deliver it to them. It's not that difficult, pal.
Well, it is if you're reliant upon other people's money to provide the funds to pay back the prior other people.
That is true.
Again, this is when you can't make an honest buck, this is what you do. And Ken has left, and there is no hyperbole in this. Ken has left a tale of destruction behind him for decades. And we when Mike was talking about Ken living in Marcus's back room, when Marcus had him at the comic book store, Marcus went so far as to buy Ken a pencil press, basically so he could make these pencil dice. He bought Ken the pencils. Yeah. He bought Ken the physical press, so Ken could crank out the pencils.
He was trying to help his friend out, his one friend in the world, or his one friend. He was trying to help him out. So,
look, we have the non-Ken here. By the way, let me give them a little Whit's team here. He isn't watching because he isn't bothered by you all. We got on for a good laugh. Well, we're enjoying the laugh of the website just going up during this show. By the way,
so wait a minute.
Whit's team? Wait, hold on. Whoa, let's back up. This is news. He has a team?
Well, let's back up even further. His team's not that smart because the team that's not watching is commenting. So if you're not watching,
Whit's team?
Yes.
I'm just saying, if you're not watching and you're all laughing, how are you laughing at people being scammed? That's Whit's team.
Yep.
There you go. That's Whit's team.
Oh, there you go. Okay, well, thanks for the shout out. I really appreciate you comparing my editing. So it's Ken. So it's Ken.
Oh, so it's me, myself, and I team.
Well, your editing blows dick, so I'd rather have AI do it, but that's okay. I don't know what you wanted to hear from me. I mean, your editing blows. If you learn from Whit, your editing sucks. You might want to go back. He said, yeah, we do have a team, and you all have no facts. What the?
Whoa, no facts. I can go to Kickstarter and pull out the fact. I can go to the screenshots, all right? The screenshots of Marcus saying, I bought Whit 10 his pencil embosser or presser, or whatever the fuck he called it, so you could get out from under. And then you bragged about you were going to complete the Kickstarters, but not in the order of the actual Kickstarter orders coming in, but from the small orders first. So if somebody wanted one pencil, they were going to get fulfilled first because those were the easier orders to fulfill.
Right.
And I think you lasted, I'll be generous, 10 orders. And then nobody else got their effing pencils, sir. No, so, I mean, listen, those are the facts.
Yeah, where are the pencils? Or do we still have the pencils? I mean, are the pencils in Marcus's back room, Ken, or where are the pencils at?
They're not.
I mean, you must have some. I mean, yeah, there's got to be a lot of pencils somewhere. I'm interested.
Well, they might be. Maybe they. You know what? I don't want to speak ill of the dead.
So this is actually. By the way, I'm gonna confirm this is Marcus. This is him because he can't spell just like Ken can't. What is it with guys that Ken and Justin can't spell? What I don't understand. What's the deal?
It's because spelling takes.
He's excited and he's writing fast all the time because he always had that issue where he couldn't really spell things. So,
I mean,
man, I can't believe it took him this long to show up. It's now. Come on, we're an hour and 45 minutes in there.
Fugly, they were pencil dice, dude. So like, if you're like incarcerated and you can't use dice. You had pencils.
Is there something? I think there's something wrong with him. He keeps saying "we," like the royal we. Does he think he's like royalty or something? We're signing off.
They're all
watching. We talking about we.
That's what they're doing. See, he has these students live with him, which is also weird. But we'll pretend that isn't, Diddy. We'll pretend that isn't, Diddy. We'll pretend. But he's got these people living with him. I don't know who that person is. That said my acting stuff. My acting must be so bad that he comes to me every 5 minutes. That's fine. And here, if you want to learn how to edit the right way, Mazzali or whoever you are, if you want to learn how to edit the right way, you could probably learn more if you just Google it. Google color correction. It's not hard. They have all kinds. Actually, Adobe has a tutorial, and Whit probably has never used it. But it's funny because we know he's watching. It's not Mosley. We don't know who you are. We don't care. But your editing sucks ass. You suck ass. Whit sucks ass. Will Mosley Entertainment sucks ass. And anybody that works with him sucks ass. I don't know what to tell you. I got no other words other than you people are idiots.
So what I find interesting is that Ken's not watching, but his team is watching. But
he said it was him though.
What is he doing? Is he like, I don't know, Ken? I don't want to kink shame you, so I'm not going to say it.
No, there's no kink. Can't kink shame. No kink
shaming. But I'm not. Just wondering what you're doing in the privacy as we're talking.
I love the way he says we're going to be talking about him all night. Look, we're only talking about you another 10 minutes. I have NBA to watch after that, so I won't think about you one time when I'm watching the Mavericks and the Clippers, buddy.
That's right.
I know. You'd like to think that, but I'm sorry. I got things to do later on. But yeah, you'll be out of my mind within. Oh, we lost Keith again. You'll be out of my mind within 10 minutes. Within 10 seconds of shutting this off, so I'm sorry, Ken.
Yeah, his video froze. Keith's video froze.
Hey, you know what? My video has been good tonight. I'm going to start blaming Jim Kitchens for my issues. I think it's his fault.
Your wife's not streaming right now. I think
you know what? I think it's my wife using up all her bandwidth. I'll have to check and see what she's doing. But you could be right, Eric. I may have to get better internet. I know I hate to say that because I don't like to spend money. So I have fiber. I have freaking fiber. How is fiber having problems? I don't know.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, this was you know what? I knew we would end with a bang and be we kind of did.
Yeah, Ken, I do thank you very much for just like building the suspense for an hour and 45 minutes. That's actually pretty good. If he only had that kind of timing, he would have been a better actor. If he would have had that timing when he was acting, then to just make everybody on pins and needles for dollar. That's actually pretty good, man. That's pretty awesome. He did that. He had everybody from pins and needles for an hour and 45 minutes, and then he pops in, boom. He pops in and gives us the royal we. We are not watching you.
Oh, great!
It's like him. It's him alone in the room. We are not watching you right now. We are doing something else.
We are not touching. No, not touching. No.
Do not kink shame us, please. Do not kink shame.
Never to kink shame Ken.
Oh, anyway, that's funny.
I blame it on Ken. Ken was like,
yeah.
You gotta get that internet shit down. You gotta get rid of Keith.
That's right. No more. See, I'm an insider, and they don't want to hear all the dirty secrets that this man has told me over the past 2 years, and I have no problem doing it. He was like, he asked me, he's like, what if I put out your arrest record? I was like, you mean my arrest record for child support that was proven wrong, that I have a documentary about with me and my mugshot on it? That one, you idiot? We talk about that all you want, buddy. I don't have an arrest record, jackass.
But you see, people like that like to threaten. If they think they have something on you, and they're the first persons that are going to do like, oh, I got to do a background check. Why are you doing a background check? Not because I want to make sure this person is somebody I can work with. They want to know, do I have something on you that I can use against you, that I can use to hold you under my thumb? Hey, you don't want this getting out because you've got this problem. Oh, I see that you went bankrupt with a prior company in the past. I'm going to hold that on you. Ken's not the only one to play that game. Okay.
Right.
Yeah, he's certainly not. Yes, Fugler. Ken's editing right now. He's like, I got to get rid of Keith. Get rid of.
And he's posting all like right now. They're in damage control. I'm getting so many messages from everybody about him posting stuff on Little Monsters and all this stuff about all these. Basically, he's using these reviews. But here's the problem. He didn't get consent. Tom Mooningham, right now, I know you're in the chat. You might want to go look at Little Monsters Inc. because he's just used you as a testimony.
So somebody needs to go to Little Monsters and post the Not Another Dime website, because if you're interested in the history of Whitman, I mean, this blog has been this website has been around since 2015. So that's 9 years of Ken Whitman's hijinks. This has been posted about, including the court cases he's lost, including the Kickstarters he's screwed up on. I mean, all this stuff. So somebody needs to post Not Another Dime, and then go to that website. And if you want to know more about Ken, there you go. But honestly, Keith, you need to feel sorry for these people, because they're all going to end up under the tires of Ken, just like nobody's his friend. He doesn't have any old friends. Nobody's his friend after a while. After a while, he tosses everybody aside. He borrows too much money from him. He does something. So everybody that's taken up for him now is going to end up sadder but wiser eventually.
Yeah, for sure. And again, like when the instructors come in, a lot of them probably didn't know that they were, that this was happening. But once it came to light, you saw that person. I don't know if it was Whit or not. It probably wasn't. It was probably one of his Diddy friends that he had.
That's the psychophants, yeah.
Right. But they said we had no facts. We literally just posted everything. Like, we didn't hide anything. We posted every single thing we had. Like, if you believe that.
I mean, if they wanted us to, we could have gone deeper.
My God. Yeah.
I mean, we could have gone, deeper into the lawsuit he lost in New York State, where, Ken's defense was horrible. And by the way, my source is now telling me that Ken's still selling those unnatural posters for buy a poster and get 10% of the profits. So you can 10% of nothing. By the way,
is that still nothing? I think it's still nothing. My math, I was terrible. I made a D in math in high school. I made all A's and I made a D in math. My dad said, "Well, you're not stupid, but you're not any good at math. I could tell. You keep making all A's and a D." So I don't know. Is 10% of nothing, Eric? I don't know this.
So and here's the issue. Somebody I'm talking to, I'm not going to mention any names whatsoever. But I did tell you that he does do that on productions. He'll say, "Oh, I have production insurance. I have production insurance," and then doesn't, lies about it. But there's problems with that because I guarantee you, anybody who's been in the industry for longer than 28 minutes knows that there's going to be a problem with production. Knows there's going to be a problem with production, and Whit doesn't do that. What he does is he goes, "Oh, I have it. Just come, hoping to God that nothing goes wrong." But it's Whit. Everything goes wrong. Everything goes wrong.
It always has. Yeah, it always has. Which is, it's amazing somebody has this much bad luck. You know, it's like, remember when Gareth, when Gareth's pets were dying, and remember Gareth always had something wrong, and I had the suspicion he lived on top of an Indian burial ground because he couldn't finish his Kickstarter because his pets kept dying. Whit's the same way. It's just always one thing after another. Just terrible luck, man. He just has bad luck.
Whit's issues. And this is, I'm going to make an assumption here. I would hazard a guess that Whit's issues are he's penny wise and pound foolish. So that Ken is cutting everything as close as he can to do the minimal amount of investment, and therefore shit breaks down, shit goes wrong, and he's not insured. So then his penny wise becomes somebody else's pound foolish.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, Scott Hansen, the one that commented in there. So basically, he is correct. That's exactly what Whit does. The whole time we were filming Murder by Association, the movie with Whit, he was obsessed with the next way to make a quick buck.
Pretty much, yeah.
Can get help, and I agree. Scott Hansen he's a legit cinematographer. He has a legit production company. He is legit. There is no that's it. It goes something, Scott. Like that's who he is in the film industry, especially in Atlanta. So Scott himself is influential. And the fact that he screwed over somebody who's as influential as Scott should tell you everything. And again, Whit's gonna be like, "Oh, Scott is good at editing. Scott is good at sound. He's good at everything. That's what he does." And so when I was doing a TV show, I was like, "Hey, Scott, can you, would you be able to edit this for me and kind of see what you would do?" And we came up with a price. And I'm like, "Well, I just can't, I will try to get it to you. I can't. You keep it until I pay you the money." I did the right thing. You keep it until I pay you the money, and then you release it. Then we'll figure out what to do from there. And Scott understood that. The problem is if Whit comes to us and says stuff like that, we're more acceptable. We can accept the fact that you screwed up. What we can't accept is the fact that you blame us for it. Is you blame us when we've had enough, and you get these people together to go, "Oh, well, they must be full of shit." Dude, there's so much proof here. You can't, no way. Like the fact that you even are showing your face outside of a prison cell is nothing more than the fact that God exists because his grace has proved over and over again on this fat ass.
Well, what is it? God takes care of drunks and fools.
Well, that's right. That's right.
I mean, we've discussed it, and I said this before. Ken has great charisma. When you first meet him, from everybody that I've spoken to that has met him, he comes off as very charismatic, very likable.
Look at one of his videos on YouTube. Look at a video of his on YouTube and say, "Wow, that's the kind of a guy. That's the guy you'd love to have a beer with." You look at that and you're like, "Oh, I'd love to have a beer with this guy." Right. Sounds like a fun guy.
So
yeah, you're right. 100%, you're right.
So now I'm gonna tell a little story that doesn't really involve Ken, but we thought it did. My first Gary Con out in Madison, Wisconsin, where a lot of classic TSR employees, including Ken Whitman, would go to for their reunion. We're at the hotel bar. Mike and Zach are sitting down, facing into the bar. I'm talking to them, basically facing away from the bar. When a large gentleman comes up, taps me on the shoulder, and tells Mike and Zach, "We need to borrow Tenkar," and literally starts walking me away. And we all had the same thought, because Ken had been a little vocal around that time, that this was one of Ken's sycophants, one of his people. And I was going to be let outside for a little bit of a
They're gonna cap you or something.
Little physical activity.
Yeah.
You know, and I was literally just retired from the job. And as I'm expecting that, and I'm like, all right, I can take a beating, but I can give a beating. All right, I'm ready for it.
Right.
I get led over to the bar, and instead of it being anybody associated with Ken Whitman, it was 3 West Coast cops buying me drinks because I was recently retired.
Oh, yeah. There you go. There you go. At least that's a good one.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to get my ass kicked, and I don't have to fight back. That's awesome.
I remember you right before that. Ken had threatened you, or Vale threatened you, so that's why we thought that was.
Oh yeah,
that was odd. Like, that
you know, I was ready for it. I was like, okay.
Whit couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. He's too ADHD. He'd get distracted by something. He can't fight anybody, and if he's got. The dude might legitimately have head problems from his college days. I don't know. The only problem is that's not an excuse. Like, it's not an excuse. No. Just because you're an idiot doesn't give you the excuse to be a menace to society.
Maybe Ken can help society and donate his brain like the football players that die too early do, and they find out once again is how you find out you have CTE is that's how they know football players have it because they examine their brain upon their death. Right. Not before that. You don't know if you have CTE.
The only
so maybe he could donate his brain. You know, that would be one step towards making your reputation better. Say you donated your brain to science. That would be great.
Well, the only problem with that is I would agree if he donates his brain to science, at least that would be the honorable thing. But the whole process, the whole time he's dying, he's gonna be like, well, if you just give me $1,000, I'll be able to donate your brain too. And if you give me another 15 grand, I'll be able to donate my brain and your brain being married. Like he comes up with these half-ass schemes and then he hashes them out with a bunch of idiots that support him. It just blows my mind. Really does. Like I've had no chill with this man since he went to my business partner and was like, just come work for me. At that point, I was like, game on, idiot. No one's safe then. If you want to try to call me out, and none of them did. Nobody said anything. So now I'll do it. And how I do it is, if you're an idiot, I'm going to tell you you're an idiot. I don't have to agree with you. You don't have to agree with me. But you can't agree with facts. And the facts are, this man has lost in court numerous times over the same damn charge. That speaks volumes about our judicial system and the fact that this man can out-talk a judge. If you know he can out-talk a judge, he can definitely out-talk you.
And like I said, Keith, if you want, when we wrap it up here, if you want any kind of solace, just realize that in 2 years you'll never hear from him again because he'll be out of the industry. He'll go move to Minnesota or he'll move to the West Coast or he'll go someplace else people don't know who he is. That's his usual MO. He stays somewhere about 2 or 3 years, scams everybody until he has no friends and he takes off. So he'll be out of your picture. He'll be out of your way sooner rather than later. So,
but of course, the idea is the only way you can sunlight's the best disinfectant, right? And that's what we are trying to do.
Sure,
right.
Sure.
Ken, don't be offended when I blow up your spot, but Ken's method of operation is to keep moving. Whether it's moving from the gaming community to the comic book community, the comic book community to the movie community. I fully expect that once Ken has fully blown up the current movie community, because he's been doing that in different areas, and now he's going to get to the point where he can't do it anymore, he's going to flip back to RPGs and role-playing games.
And this is why you keep talking about him. This is why we keep talking about him, because people go, what? Oh, no, another show about bad Kickstarters. Why are you doing this? This is why we do it, folks, because of people like Keith and other people out there that don't know this guy yet. And the same with a lot of these guys. Look, I noticed the other day, Eric, like I said, we're going to talk about the fact that Mike Nistel's changed his name. And so, he's back in the gaming world. He's been running games, and he's been running games for pay, which is, hey, that's a legit job if you want to do that. But I'm watching very closely to see if a Kickstarter pops up here, because that man also does not need to be doing any more Kickstarters of any gaming stuff.
Right.
So this is why we do this, folks. This is why we do show with Keith, because we want you to know.
Think of what Ken is doing right now in the film industry as another Kickstarter, because he's getting people to invest in dreams and a promise, and they're getting little if nothing back from it, which is exactly what happened with this Kickstarter. It's just he's just changing the venue. He's not changing the game.
And that's exactly right. And I have before I take off, I want to thank you guys for letting me come on and
sure, no problem, man. That's good. Good to have you.
I really appreciate it. You guys are awesome, super professional. I had a blast, honestly, on here. You guys are.
We've never been called professional before, so
watch the curse words there.
Either have I. But I do appreciate you guys coming on. But I do have one last thing I would challenge any of the students that are listening, or anybody on his team, or anybody who supports him. Ask Whit one thing, and if he shows it to you, I'll shut up. Show me the acceptance of the 501c3 that he is advertising for his school. Show it to me, and I will admit I was wrong. Until you show it to me, you're just as bad as he is. That's my only challenge.
There you go. Hey, Ken, listen, I'll be following. What a surprise! You know, I've been lagging. I gotta say, I've been lagging, but you know what? We're gonna have to keep a focus now because you know it doesn't end. But don't worry, your team, your team will tell you. They'll write up a summary for you that your CTE addled brain of like a sixth grader can understand completely. They'll break it down for you, and we'll try to avoid the big words. So I don't really want you to have to really like struggle through it. We don't need that for you.
I love it.
Yeah. So Roger, that's shedding light. It's all we've talked about stuff that is documented. That's the whole thing too. All right. It's not like this stuff isn't documented. It's not like these Kickstarters that never fulfilled. 175,000 plus pissed away isn't documented. Okay, this is all documented. Okay, Keith has documentation of the conversations.
Oh yeah,
I know some of them. And this Ken and his team can certainly say what they want, but you know, truth is the ultimate. And when you have truth on your side, you know, you can still say what you want, Team Whitman, Team Whit, but you know, it's not going to hold much water.
And it doesn't. The people who are seeing this and who are watching it, they're looking at it going, holy piss. I mean, there's new people we've opened eyes to. That's the mission, right? Open eyes, show what's really going on, and see. I'm going to follow a natural too. And I would be very interested to see how that goes off when he's got all this pressure and stress of, oh shit, there's class action lawsuits against me again. There's the attorney general in Kentucky has been contacted by 3 separate people. He's got to be scared. I love it. I love it. This is over $900. Should just pay me, Whit. $900, bro.
He'd have to find the money, and so that takes when you're not earning when you're not earning a regular salary and you're not good at earning an irregular salary, it's sometimes hard to keep that cash flow going. Right. So you know, you weren't necessary anymore. You know, you could be sacrificed. If he could poach your team, you could be sacrificed. So, you know, and then they probably work for less than you. That's his. Listen, I'm just trying to put myself into the stolen shoes of the Walking Dead.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you very much for coming on, Keith. And like I said, this is one of our public service videos where we try to tell people that these people are still out there that are trying to rip you off. So be careful. So,
well, again, thanks so much. Thanks for so much for having me on. I'll be, you know, I'll make sure I check in with you guys, you know, every now and again to show you what's going on. Again, you know, great show. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.
So, folks, if you want to keep current on the Ken Whitman saga, we'll be doing semi-irregular updates on this because it is now a story again. Yep. Ken, you're relevant.
Thank you, Ken. You entered our field of vision again. We're happy to have you around. Yeah. So it's wonderful
to help bring.
And Ken, just to let you know, Jim Kitchen has told me he has plenty of stories about you.
Oh man, we missed Jim tonight. Well, we'll have Jim on another week. He can share us all kinds of stuff
with Jim.
Yeah, he can share us all kinds of stories.
Yeah, well, don't worry about it. We'll make sure it's entertaining for you, Ken. We always do.
Maybe we should have Jolly on. We need to have Jolly on one of these days. I bet Jolly's got some fun.
Yeah, Jolly might. Yeah, that's an idea. All right, folks. As always, be safe, be well. God bless. Roll those dice, roll them well. Tomorrow night, if you're on the Discord, we do a hangout from 9 to 11-ish. Next live stream is Friday at 8 p.m. Saturday, 8 p.m., Game of Health with me and my wife, Rach, as always. And other than that, thank you and God bless.
Bye, Ken. Love you. Love you, Ken.
Oh, yeah. We love you a long time.
Love you, Axeman. Axeman.
Oh, my God.